Welcome, welcome, welcome. You gotta do, guys. The three welcome every time we go live here on Geek Spiel's Table Crashers. So, as you know, I'm Will, but we have some amazing guests on this week. We actually have Carla and Nick from Weird Giraffe Games. How you guys doing?
We're doing great.
Spectacular.
Spectacular. So we actually had you guys on the program before I was hosting over here. And I actually had you guys on Happy Fun Time live at Unpub, which was a great experience, and I thank you guys for that. But we're here to talk about your new game, which is Dreams of Tomorrow, and also a pretty big transition for you guys. It was happening like maybe halfway or toward the ends of Final Library, but what changed for you guys was you guys became independent publishers, right?
We've always been indie publishers. Do you mean that we signed?
I guess the success of Fire actually almost like rocketed you guys up a little more, I think, than previously. Correct or no?
We're legit now.
Yeah, I guess so. If there's like cred
or something. Taking it to the streets.
Taking it right to the streets. Thanks, Nick.
Well, in reality, nothing really changed. So
really.
And we've just
I mean, like, we got money from Fire in the Library, but we haven't fulfilled it, so we just like leave the money there until everything's paid for.
Oh,
yeah, and
true.
I guess before that, we've been designing our own games and publishing them on Kickstarter. Fire in the Library was the first time we worked with somebody else.
Yeah, that was the first game that we signed. Before that, we had Stellar Leap and Super Hack Override.
Right, and that was something you guys worked on together. But you didn't bring in anybody outside of like artists and stuff like that. This Final Library was the first time you brought in like the designers outside of what you guys did.
Legit, we got Beth Sobel to work with us on Fire in the Library.
That was a illustrator,
yeah. And worked with Tony Miller and John Prather on Fire in the Library. All in all, it was an amazing process. Still having fun. We just got our first production copy in from Long Pack Games.
Well, we had a production copy, or like the first copy, but we were like, oh, this has things wrong with it, so they had to go back and fix things. But yeah, now we have the first real production copy. Like,
so I guess go ahead. I'm sorry.
It keeps being the first one until it's right.
And we are super hoping that we'll have some in time for PAX Unplugged in next month.
Oh, that'd be really nice.
It's looking like it might happen.
We'll see.
No promises.
So there's this thing about Nick where he just likes to lie to people all the time to like, make them happy, and I have to be like, "Whoa, Nick, don't say things."
But we think it's
maybe.
I'm the optimism. Unleashed optimism is basically what they call me.
So I guess along with goes with that, you know, when you guys we talked about development before on the program with you guys, but you know, what have you guys learned from Fire in the Library and also now in this next Kickstarter, the Dreams of Tomorrow? What have you guys learned? Because it's isn't it one big grand experiment? Everything you're doing, everything changes on the dot.
Yeah. There's been a lot of learning going on. I think. Like, we learned a lot with Dreams of Tomorrow. Like, originally, this was not a game about dreaming at all. This was a game about building totem poles. And I learned, it was way different than this. But I learned that building totem poles was really offensive. So I had to be like, okay, I realize it's offensive, and I'm making the choice to do something different. And then I had to decide amongst I went to Twitter as I usually do.
I remember that.
And I was like, here's the mechanics, give me game theme ideas. And then I poured through like the 30 or so ideas, and then I came up with my own idea, I think. And just went with it.
I still remember the tweet where it went from like a quick question out to Twitter, and then it went to like, okay, after everybody talked to me about what your ideas, I'm thinking dreams. What do you guys think? And then there's like this pretty positive response, I think, that you got back from that. I thought it was neat too, because it was one of those open themes that is sometimes explored, but usually you see it explored in a much more in-depth way. And when you combine the idea of dreams with an abstract strategy game, that's something that I never really encountered that often within gaming. You get like, I guess a good example is like you'll get like people who represent, the aspects of personality and stuff on like a skirmish type game with dreams, or some kind of dice throwing game. But I think the dreams theme, and we'll see this when we get to the table later tonight, works really well with like an abstract strategy game. What's your experience been with it so far? Like, through the development process, there's always ups and downs. Tell me about the most positive experience you've had with Dreams of Tomorrow at this point.
The most positive was probably when I was playtesting at Dice Tower Con. Everyone really liked the game, but they said that it needed more.
Okay.
And that's because they brought up the whole nightmare idea, where like I have a game about dreams, but at the time there was nothing with nightmares in it, and that got me to think of the nightmare mode, or the troubled night as it is, and to add in the nightmare. But I thought that was really good because people were happy with the game, like they were satisfied with it, but they just wanted like something additional.
And I think that was extremely validating when, so after all of that happened, and then we had Rado run through Dreams of Tomorrow, and he pointed out specifically that mode makes this game, what he said is a hoot. And I think that validation was a pretty high point for Carla and I.
Yeah, I think the common reference I was hearing through other reviews or just murmurs within Kickstarter forums and stuff that I'm in was like it turns the game up to 11. Yeah. The game is a pretty solid base game, and then when you add that nightmare mode, it becomes an even more in depth and intricate strategy game. So what advice would you give independent publishers at this point, at this stage of the game where you guys are? Like, of all the things that you guys have experienced at this point, what would you say is like the best gem of advice you can pass along?
I really like to add replayability to games, like having in all these different extra modes. Like they add in playtesting, but I believe it gives it makes your game appeal to a lot more people. Like we have the pleasant night mode and the troubled night mode, and each of those modes appeal to two different groups of people, and the only additional component is just that nightmare. But then I also focus on making a solo mode to the game, so then you get the solo gamers, and if you make that robot player in such a way that you can add it to the multiplayer experience as well, then you have those same components, but you can do all these different things. Like you can do the nightmare mode and add in the robot player, and that just gives players like all these different ways to play games.
Right. And one thing that I did notice too, there was a quote on your Kickstarter page from another review, and I'm sorry, I don't recall the name, but they said, Carla does it again with the solo mode. And I think that's definitely a theme of what you bring, where Giraffe brings to the table, is almost every time you release something, there's always a solo mode, and it seems to be very well thought out. Could you walk me through the process of your solo mode testing? What do you do? Like, what makes your process possibly unique that lets you capture that uniqueness?
So with solo mode playtesting, like for me, it's like, of course I would add in a solo mode because adding in solo is so easy compared to getting the rest of it done. Mostly because I just need me. Okay, like I don't need to call up anyone and be like.
It takes one person to play test a solo game.
Yeah. So I don't have to convince Nick to play with me because Nick, he doesn't like to play the same game repeatedly. Like we have to mix it up. But
shame on you, Nick.
I like playing other games. What is this?
But so I can just sit down one day and be like, okay, I have an idea. Let's try this solo mode. And I sit down and I play the game, and I'm like, that wasn't that great. Let's change these 5 things. And I just like in the same sitting I can play again, and then I'm like, oh, we're getting closer, and like change these things and just stay there and get it until it's like really good. Like, so I think like that part of it just makes sense.
And I think one of the biggest things for the solo mode is to somebody said it on a podcast one time, and I think we took it to heart was to just it doesn't have to, or when you're working with an AI or a robotic player, to not actually have the robot mimic another player, but actually mimic the outcome or the experience.
Well, I think that was me that said that.
Yeah, Carla said that.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I was listening to a podcast Carla was on.
But I mean, it's very true, because the unique quality of a robot player is that you could ramp up the actual simulation of the theme. Because I mean, that's what I think the heart of any passionate designer. What they're trying to do is they're trying to simulate in their mind what the game is you're supposed to experience as a player within the game. When you add human players to the mix, that sometimes ruins it, because you're trying to balance replayability and fun, and you lose part of the simulation, because anybody who dives into the game is just trying to compete with somebody else at the table. Even in co-op games, I mean, I've been in a lot of co-op games where players were like, no, I'm going to co-op better than you.
No. I'm going to work together harder.
Right, I'm going to work together harder than you. So at the end, but I see the same thing in solo, that sort of releases you from that bind, and you could actually give a very solid representation of the feelings, the emotions you might go through in the role of the narrator or character of the game. And that's a really great point. And if you design with that in mind, then it keeps it more on point, and it gives you that unique experience that you're not like replicating what another player is doing. That's awesome.
It's all about emulating what the experience of having another player there is, but not actually emulating having another human there. Like,
yeah, right. I like that. That's take note. So what are some of the challenges? I mean, you've experienced it, I mean, you've designed a few games now, and then you've ramped it up and started working and collaborating with other designers. And then you went and put yourself in the development role. We talked about this when we talked about Fire in the Library, when we were at Unpub, the many hats that you have to wear now, Carla. So what are some of the challenges that go along with developing a game?
Well, one of the main things is being able to work with the designer on the game, and like being able to work well and figuring out how to work well. I've been like changing up like my actual process with things. Like for Fire in the Library, we had like a Slack channel in a certain Slack group, but then I've since created my own Slack, and we've been doing a lot of things. Like I've relied a lot on paper from Dropbox. And like having that record all of our play tests so that we can go back and see what we did and what we thought about things.
Interesting.
But like just getting your process down and knowing like what you want each person to do like explicitly, and like making sure everyone knows things, like, because like well, if you've ever been in Slack, it's like you say something but then it's gone eventually and you have to like search through things. But if you have like a specific task list somewhere, like that helps out a lot.
So basically, it's encapsulating the role of a project manager, and organization is always key with that role. But it's not only organization for yourself; it's organization for the group. Like, how do you distill? Because that's what you have to do. You have to distill complicated organizations to a point where people will do them. Because how many times when you reach out and do those things, and like you're like, okay, I need this by Thursday, and then somebody's like, oh, I missed that message somewhere, or oh, it was in this program, and I've been looking at this program, and so you really have to distill it down. So you found that combination of your own Slack that you've created, and you said paper within Dropbox.
Yeah, so paper is kind of like Google Drive or Google Docs, but a little different. But yeah, and then also Todoist, where I have so Todoist is like a to-do app where I just have every day I have like check in with the artist, check in with the designer, make sure everyone's like on task. So I make sure to go around and actually check in and like know that people know what the deadline is or what I think the deadline is, because sometimes those things don't match up.
Of course.
So one of the
and you're always going to be wrong in a conversation later on,
Yeah.
I swear I sent you that message, but you didn't. You know what I mean? Like,
well, everyone has their own life and stuff going on. So one really important thing I did learn about Dreams of Tomorrow is that for Kickstarters, I kickstart on Monday. I just launch on Mondays because Mondays are better for me. There was this document that was written like 3 or 4 years ago that said that Tuesdays were the best day to launch. And right after that like thing was written, then that became obsolete because everyone was like, Tuesdays are the day to launch. It's like
yeah.
So it's just so weird like how that happens because people read it and they still think that it's true. But like once people read statistics, then statistics like they've been affected by them.
And then one reviewer was like, "Hey, I was gonna."
Well, anyway, Nick is getting to the punchline of my story.
Okay.
Got it, Nick.
I love that you guys do the couple fights like in interviews. I love it. High five right there. That is like.
Deal it like just snag my story.
Fine, I'll just stop.
Like I had to deal with that. But anyway,
she did.
I did.
I'm glad I don't have to. I just do the numbers.
Like he does spreadsheets and stuff. But anyway, so I kept on one of the things I do is I repeatedly email people all the time, and I'm like, "Hey, is everything going okay? Everything all right? Kickstarter on the 15th." And like I keep sending that. And then like a number of the reviewers were like, "Yeah, on the 15th, tomorrow, right?" And I'm like, "No, today is the 15th. It is today, and I don't know where your review is."
What? All Kickstarters don't launch on Tuesday, like video games?
Right. Now, and that's, it's really funny because, I think what ends up happening, you're right. There's this formulaic thing. People skip the formulaic stuff if they're not. Big data is important in any business, and you're not exempt from knowing what's happening with big data. So within the board community, there's a laziness factor because a lot of people do what they do within their gaming groups, and they're just like, okay, send me a document that tells me like the trend, and like that document stays like stagnant. It doesn't. Those documents don't change. You as the individual who's running these campaigns, if you're not actually running algorithms and analyzing data on your Facebook pages, your Instagram, how effective are the ad campaigns we're running? Are we getting viable traction? If you're not doing the footwork there, and you're just going based on a document, then that you get burned. I mean, if you have a decent product, you'll do okay, but if you really want to, kill it on the Kickstarter's way of things, you really have to run your own analytics. Have you found that to be true?
Oh yeah, we've always done our own analytics where we give each person their own unique link so we can track like how many clicks they're getting and like how many conversions and stuff like that. And it actually makes us, it helps make the decision like, are we gonna go with this reviewer again or not, and things like that.
And the reason I even mentioned it too is we interviewed Robert from Lazy Squire Games. He launched Wild Ascent, and he talked about how I was like, "Why are you doing a 2-week campaign? Everybody does a 30-day campaign." And he's like, "Well," and he lists off all these reasons, and I was like, "Oh, wait a second, that does make sense, based on what you're telling me." And he ran the analytics and he looked at the data, and he was like, "If I'm not going to have add-ons every second day or every third day, it doesn't make sense for me to run a 30-day campaign because people just I'll lose that, and I might lose the money along the way." And it's funny too because as soon as you said, somebody follows an antiquated document, when I saw him run a 2-week campaign early on before he launched his Kickstarter, I reached out and I was like, "Dude, you probably don't want to do 30 days for that exposure, right?" And he just sort of like, no. He didn't like really go into more depth with me, but that's what it comes down to. Like here I am, I spend stupid amounts of money on Kickstarter, like a nut, and in my mind, I'm like, why would you not do a 30-day campaign?
Because 30 days is stressful.
It's a lot of days.
We're doing a 24-day campaign,
right?
Because I've seen a number of people that tried last year to do a 2-week campaign, and they did not do as well as they wanted to, which made me believe 24 days. I think is kind of like the best thing because it does give you like the 3 weeks of exposure. That because we've had an interview or a review drop basically every day.
Very true.
But it doesn't taking out that extra week where you're just dead inside and you're just
why are people unbacking? There's more unbackers.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But we haven't had a negative day yet. So I mean,
that's great.
It seems to it's worked. There's always we can say now oh, there's only 10 days left. You should back it now. And there was never that point where there was like, oh, there's 30 days left. You have an entire month to do this.
Ooh, yeah.
So why would you do it today?
They'll come back to it. They never do.
I mean, yeah, that's true. That I mean, well, you get that if you follow it, you get that 48-hour email, and then you're still like muddling through. You're like, oh, if I didn't buy it the first day it came out, am I gonna do it now? Do you know what I mean? It's just, and that's more the psychology of the backer, not the content creator. And I mean, that's actually an interesting question. On the side of the backer, when I look at a project, that first day, if it doesn't really catch me, I will hit that like button or follow button. And then down in the last 48 hours, I'll get that email. And then I really start to dive in and do some research. The amount of research that I do as a backer is actually kind of crazy. Like, because it's like a second part of this hobby for me. Like, I'm looking at like different prices. I'm looking at, what's actually on the future release schedule, because you have a lot of like murmurs of, oh, this is going to hit in 2 months. Am I going to spend $500 on a crazy game now and then not be able to back like 25 people that really, really deserve the money, in my opinion, over like these larger publishing houses? You know what I mean? Like, that's what goes through my head as a backer. What goes through your head as a creator during the creation process of these Kickstarters? Like, how much planning? Obviously there's a lot, but are there any times where you get like sideswiped by like, oh my god, this game is launching now? you know what I mean?
I would say like that definitely happened during this campaign.
During every one of our campaigns, James Hudson has released a game the week after on Kickstarter. Come on, James. What are you doing?
Oh, okay. So he's like talking on angry. He's also in Alabama, and like we know cool. him pretty well.
His games are pretty cool.
So like Nick's anger is like, it is just weird that he does this. Like, we made the schedule.
We're on the same schedule.
And somehow it just matches up or whatever.
It's like James, like, seriously, dude, we told you we were gonna launch. Like,
yeah, like I really, I probably should pay attention more to other people's Kickstarters, but I try to like plan mine, really, really well and focus on like me more so than focusing on like what everyone else could possibly be doing, because frankly, there's like so many people just on Kickstarter now. Like, so many.
There is. And market saturation is out of control right now within the realm of board games. And I think, funding is definitely contributing to that saturation, because now, the points of purchase used to really just be the big publishing houses, and, the independent guys would just do the footwork. They would go to the conventions, they would hit up their local game stores. That was the most exposure they really got. You know what I mean? How far they could drive their car in a 3-month period was like, that was like their tracking. And now with the advent of crowdfunding and what you see going on here, saturation is definitely out of control. I wonder, and you might not even have insight into this, but I wonder how much of a threat it is to some of these bigger publishing houses, like the independent scene. Is it encroaching much on their sales, do you think, at this point? Like, if you had to guess?
If I had to guess, I'd say no, because a lot of these like small publishers have to find their own audience and find all these people to like fund their own campaigns. That I mean, we're all bringing in, like, each individual publisher is bringing in new people to the gaming scene, and those people are probably buying the big name games in addition to like their friends' games.
Right. Yeah, just from the anecdotal experience is that for the last 3 years, I would think that there's just so much that the pie is growing so much with the new people coming into the hobby that it really isn't a big deal that somebody may be losing their chunk of pie. It's just the entire pie is growing. So
and the whole distribution model, like the big store or the big companies are always going to be in the friendly local game store, but the friendly local game store is only going to have, a very small subset of their products that are going to be indie publishers, and maybe they'll just do the indie publishers that they personally know.
Right. And I think that also, everybody talks about, like, with market saturation in the situation you're in, whatever rises and floats to the top and stays there, or it's going to be the cream of the crop, obviously. And
will it be, or will it be the ones that actually know how to market?
That's that's actually another great way to look at it, because I've found personally that the shiny stuff, the latest and greatest, and the hotness is also some like they're becoming dirty words for me because I'm seeing a lot of great games behind all of that luster and shine losing out to just because something has a premium component, or because I'm like we as gamers, what do we really look for? I mean, I look for mechanics. I look for something that's going to be a satisfying experience that I'm going to be able to bring to a table and people are going to enjoy. I'm finding that you're getting these really heavy games that are disguising themselves as lighter games with components, and just things are definitely changing. And I feel you. I feel you. Like, is it marketing that's going to win out, or is it going to be the games? I personally hope that right now the latest and greatness and the hotness might be the trend, but I feel like people can only get burned so many times. You know what I mean? There's only gonna be a period of time where people are gonna be like, listen, I spent like $300, or like I spent $120 on a game that in reality, like with my experience with my gaming group, was probably worth 40. And I just paid for that extra plastic, or I just paid for, the name and not for, what I was actually getting.
Mm-hmm.
But I think right now in the short term, the hotness and the latest and greatest combined with shiny is prevailing right now within the industry.
Well, and there's just the fact that there's so many indie publishers out there that there are probably one or two people, and if they don't like marketing and if they don't want to put in the effort to go into distribution, then if you don't get on a Kickstarter, you won't ever hear about the game again because of you can't buy it unless you go to their specific website, which is really hard to ask people to do.
Well, and you bring up another great point. How like there and I've noticed this. There's a lot of people that think that Kickstarter is like the magic be all. Like once you get funded, you're done. Like there we go. Now I can sell millions of copies of my game. My work is over. But during the behind the scenes for you guys, and I think for a lot of people that know what's going on, is during these Kickstarter campaigns, you're getting calls from distribution points. You're fielding a lot of these, as this exposure grows. Hey, we noticed you funded here. Do you want to partner up on something? You start getting all these like networking calls with that exposure. That's what I've heard from a lot of people at this point. And then if you're not actually following through on those leads and you're just letting them fizzle because in your mind you're like, okay, I just made it on a Kickstarter and I can do this myself. You're really hurting yourself as a potential company in the future. Are you seeing, and like you said, you're seeing that happen with a lot of these games because they're not doing the second part, which is using the Kickstarter platform as their initial funding, and then also using the exposure to build their network of clientele.
Some people just don't have those skills to be able to do that.
True.
Or time.
That's true.
Yeah, it does take a lot of time. Well, and we might be getting into distribution soon, but that's only because this is our fourth game on Kickstarter. Distributors like to see like they don't want just your one game unless your one game's going to be really good. But if you have a history and they know that you're going to keep putting out games that people will want to buy, then they might want to actually get your games into their stores.
Yeah, and there's a very limited amount of space within the warehouses that distribute too.
Yes.
And also through conversations with a lot of local game store owners, that distribution process is in need of some pretty heavy revamping at this point in time too. I'm hearing some nightmarish stories from both ends, from the designers, developers / publishers, and from the store owners, because there's just not a good management system happening, and there's not enough distributors right now to support the growth of the industry, from what I'm hearing.
Yeah, it's very hard to get into distribution unless you either have a Kickstarter that blows up or you have a certain number of games. Yeah, and getting to that number of games is really hard because you have to be able to, even going to Kickstarter, you're like, oh yeah, I need all this money to make it happen. But to get to that Kickstarter point, you needed thousands of dollars to, get to Kickstarter. And if you didn't put in thousands of dollars, then you probably don't have what it takes to get funded and to be popular.
Yeah, because
you have to pay artists.
You
that's
do.
a thing.
And it's not cheap.
Oh yeah, when I say thousands, I mean you have to pay thousands to an
that Title Blades has. Man,
Yeah.
those aren't cheap.
Yeah, those would be expensive. But also like your graphic designer, you have to get all these reviewer copies made, and like print on demand is not cheap.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
No, it's not. And the funny thing is, I actually found out a little bit that hit. I hit a wall when I was going to and stuff too. I was hitting like the last stage of design where I did a lot of the art as placeholder art, and I started looking at like box art and things like that. And I was like, oh my God, it's going to cost me like $1,000 or like $1,200 for like a art for the cover of this game. Like, I guess I could do that, but wait a second. Then I just have the art, now I have to make it look like a GUI. Like, you know what I mean? I had like, in my mind, I'm a tech guy. So like, I'm like, I have to make a nice GUI on this card so that it makes sense. And hold on a second, I have to pay for symbols now. I can't draw this stuff. You know what I mean? And then it's like, then before you look at it, and you're like, I need like $20,000, or better, to just springboard into this at this point. It depends on what kind of game you're building, obviously, and then that doesn't even get into like, resin models or anything like that if you're going to like really deep, because then it's like $1,500 just for the mold, and everything gets exponentially cheaper after you make it. But yeah, I mean, it's not something. And I think overall, the takeaway for anybody who's watching this that is thinking about designing their own game, have at it. Start it as a hobby. Don't quit your day job until you have the. I wouldn't even say not like the paperwork isn't even the time to do that. The checks have to start coming in, right?
Well, even like if you're just a designer and not a publisher, like you might get like 5% of whatever it's sold to like people as. And like when you sell to like game stores, they want at least 50% off. So 5% of 50% off is not like a large check. Like, I mean, you'll probably be able to go to a couple fancy dinners.
Well, and the big thing is that if you're designing a game, you should probably go and find a publisher to publish it, because
very true.
If you want to do your own Kickstarter, that's a
hint,
different thing.
Right, guys?
Like running a Kickstarter, it's running a business, and you have to look at it that way.
You literally have to run a business, and like we have an LLC. Like if you do not have a business, like
if you don't want to run a business, have no interest in doing taxes and filing paperwork, then just take your design to a publisher.
Right. And actually, and I think alongside of that advice, if you're really looking at if you're decent at design, if you feel you have a knack for it, make multiple games. Like, don't just sit on one game. You have like a sort of rotating work where you have like 5 or 6 that you're juggling, and don't make it like to a complete game. Like, design it to where it's functional, because publishers aren't looking for something complete, because they want to get their hands on it and do all the fun development stuff that they get to do, because that's the itch that you want to scratch as a developer, because now you're not actually starting at the design process. You still want to be a part of the design, so you're not looking for like that complete idea. And like you said, the original idea was totems here, and you threw it out there, and people were like, no, Native Americans, you can't really. You got to sort of back up a little bit with that, and so those are things that you don't really think of, going into a lot of this. So be prepared is probably the overall takeaway there. Wow, that was pretty deep. We went pretty deep here, guys. I appreciate that. So I'm going to ask just a few more questions, and then we're going to crash the table. I swear there's going to be gameplay. I swear
we will play games. Stay tuned.
Yeah, it's going to happen. I always ask a question, and there's 2 of you, so this is going to be fun. What is your guilty pleasure game? So what game do you, and go ahead, like, I'll just throw that out there, and if you need an explanation, let me know.
Okay, so let me go first, and you guys have to check out these guys, Lay Waste Games at Lay Waste on their
Dragoon.
I freaking love Dragoon. It is one of my favorite games. It's really awesome because it's strategy, but it's also you're a dragon and you're smashing things. But there's also strategy. It's a ridiculously good game. I love the components. We backed it on Kickstarter, so we have all the metal stuff. I freaking love it. Every time I see them at a con, I make it a deal to stop them and say, "I love your game. I can't wait for the legacy version to come out." Which they did if you haven't seen the YouTube video, Google it. They did a April Fool's YouTube Legacy Dragoon, where they were
Legacy?
actually like burning things.
Oh my god,
it was
those
awesome.
guys are nuts. They are nuts. But yeah,
Yeah.
and that's a solid game. It's one of my backed on Kickstarter.
Yeah. So, and I just recently played Human Era, their new game that we just got from their Kickstarter, and I freaking loved that game too. So
You're hooked.
I am hooked on all layways. So I will be a backer. I love that stuff. Those guys are amazing, and I will definitely be backing their next Kickstarter, the Metal game, which who knows what it's about, but I'm sure it will be awesome.
Yeah,
I saw they're
going to do an expansion, volcano expansion for Dragoon. But okay, Carla, what is your guilty pleasure game?
I would say like I don't really have a guilty pleasure game. Most have an unplayed stack of games, and that always like I need to get the stack down. I want to get the stack like fully played, but So yeah, I just like whenever I can, I just take a game from the stack and play it, so I can be like, yes, I am closer to having this stack not be a stack anymore.
Yep, it's not easy. I mean, I'm not nearly as busy as you guys. I'm pretty busy, but not nearly as you guys. I have a stack that's building up as well. So in your new position, with the success of a bunch of the games, I saw a lot more tweets about Carla, you reaching out to underrepresented groups within the gaming community, the board gaming community, and really trying to prop them up and get them in a better position than you feel that they are at this point. What has been your experience through that, like through reaching out like that, and how is it received in general by the community?
I think it's been received well. I'm not sure like how many people know that I'm doing. I've been really trying to find like female and minority designers to sign their games, and I haven't exactly been successful in that. But I have been really successful like in the whole like artist and writer situation. But yeah,
so we can sort of pause real quick, and anyone out there that might grab and see this video VOD, please, if you are a member, and you have a design that you're working on, Carla's the person to sort of talk to right now. They just want to make sure that they're doing what they can, for those that don't feel that they're represented well enough within the gaming community, right?
Yeah, we realize that we have this platform.
Well, I mean,
and this opportunity.
I just want people to know that they're welcome, and the best way to say that you're welcome is to like pay you money, right? I would say so. Hey, I want you to be in the community so much. I'm just going to pay you all this money, and let's make something great together.
Yeah, we can be the change we want.
That's
right. Yeah, like I don't know if you guys know about that statistic where there's like more sheep on the covers of board games than there are women.
No, wait, hold on a second. Wait. What is the statistic, please?
There was like I think it was Cardboard Republic did a thing where they looked at different board game the boxes to see if there was like men and women and sheep. And there's more board games that have sheep than there are that have women. And it was like, what? So like that's one of the reasons why like the cover of Dreams of Tomorrow, it's a woman on the cover. It's not like a woman and a man, or the more likely scenario of a woman and like 5 men, because
you got to keep the representation even, quote unquote.
Yeah, I don't know.
Very nice. No, it's good that you're making socially conscious decisions, I think, in your design as well as you go through.
Well, and like all these people are really fantastic to work with.
Very true.
Yeah, I mean, like we're gonna go to PAX Unplugged, and it's like, who am I gonna like pay to try to get to work in my booth? Well, like let's like have more minorities visible in there, so that the attendees that are there are gonna be like when there's women there, they'll be like, oh yeah, that booth, it actually has a woman. Maybe I'll go up to them and talk to them.
A woman that's actually talking about design and not like cosplaying.
Well, I mean, if you've ever you guys, probably have gone into game stores and have just been, treated like a regular human when you go in there. But like, I feel like every like gamer girl has had that experience where they go into a game store and the people just stare at them and they're like, "Why are you here? Are you lost? Do you know things?"
Right.
Like, I'm not gonna respond to your voice.
Then you got the one dude shadowing you the whole way through, and then you.
Yeah. And it's like that's happened more often than you would think.
Yeah, I've seen it.
I design games.
It's insane.
I'll be completely honest. I'll be completely honest. In most of my, if I am not like local to the local game store, if I am traveling and I walk into a local game store, that's very common within the United States, for me to walk in and not feel welcome to many stores that I've entered. And I just think it's just part of the mentality, like, this is our store. You know what I mean?
What are you doing in our store?
No, granted, like, the owners aren't usually of that mentality, but the people that they hire in, I just noticed that it's very often, you must enter, and like you have to, like, there's this whole gatekeeper aspect, to just the entering those stores. And even like me, I'm just a regular white dude. I walk into some of those stores and I'm sometimes treated just like, who is this guy? What does he want from us? Is he going to steal like 40,000 copies of, like, those Warhammer miniatures, or is he going to be like the better guy in this competition? And I think that's part of it too, is like, they know the hierarchy a lot of times within the players that enter. So like when I walk in, especially like if it's a Magic heavy store, a lot of them are like eyeing me up and measuring me up, like, oh, is he actually can beat me in this tournament tonight? Because I really need this like free box so I can build out this set that I need. I think that's part of the mentality of it too. But anyway, that's been my experience.
Yeah, well, I just think it's really sad that there's all this gatekeeping. Like, just welcome people.
This is my hobby, not yours. Why won't anybody play with me?
That's why.
That's why.
So yeah, no, I think that's being whittled away a little bit, especially when it's a bigger gamut of personality that's entering the hobby now. Because I think the original gamut that you experienced was just hyper competitive, guys who that was their outlet. Like, think about this. Like, many of the people who gravitated toward board games at that point in time, they were on the fringe of society, and that was their outlet. That's where they felt they belonged. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of natural. Like, that territory, they felt they were territorial about it, because that's, in some cases, to be completely honest, that's what a lot of them had. Like, if you think about it.
Makes sense.
And so I could see it from both sides. I don't think it's right to be gatekeeping, but I think it's psychologically, I think it's hard for a lot of them to let go of that private space that they had and include people into it, because, like I said, in a lot of cases, I think a lot of them had other things going on in their life, and that was their final refuge. And then for them to be ousted of that, or feel like they weren't the king of the pile there, that's a pretty rough thing to take, to be completely honest. So anyway,
man, that's super deep.
Yeah, sorry. But PAX Unplugged, you guys are heading to any other conventions, going, like, any smaller conventions?
Oh yeah, so Rocket City Game Fest. That is in January in Huntsville, Alabama. We run an unpub there every year. Awesome. So, I mean, if you're a designer, come down.
And especially if you're in the Southeast, Nashville, Birmingham, Atlanta, they're all like a 3-ish or so 2-hour drive. And we'll have an unpub mini.
Yes. So there, we're also going to Unpub, Origins, Gen Con, Dice Tower Con. There's Sci-Fi Fantasy Fest in Birmingham in July, and that's the second Unpub of the year that we run.
Awesome. So you guys are busy.
We go to cons,
and you guys will be
every
out there.
Yeah. So
awesome.
Maybe we'll go to more cons. Maybe we won't. I don't know.
And Frontier Airlines just came here with cheap flights to Denver, so maybe we'll make it out to some mountainous cons at some point.
So anybody who's watching, who wants to meet up with Carla and Nick, you'll have a lot of opportunities to do so now, the end of this year and moving into next year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're hoping to do a game night in New Orleans too at some point.
Oh yeah, because we have our New Orleans game coming up.
Yeah.
You have what now?
Yeah.
Wait, what? Do what now?
Okay, so the game is called Big Easy Busking. In the game, you are a street musician and you're trying to get the most tips. And
what?
it's an area control game, but it's really cool in that it's a more unique area control game because you're playing a song. You start playing a song in a location, but songs take time to play. So you start playing, and then everyone takes their turn, and then you decide like how much energy did you actually put into that song after seeing like where everyone else decided to go. You decide how much energy you put in. You take some energy back if you decide that and redistribute it, and then start playing a song in a different location.
And this is one more time the title, so people can start looking for it.
Big Easy Busking, and it's on our website at weirddraftgames.com.
Okay, there we go. Perfect.
The Josh Mills designed game.
Yeah.
Who did Rocky Road a la mode. I loved that game. And
yeah.
I think Josh
is really cool.
He's so awesome to work with. So we're excited for that to come out. We're looking at around the February-ish time frame to hit Kickstarter. So
yeah.
Okay, awesome. That's awesome. That's great news too. I love what you guys put out. So
Thank you.
So I'm gonna go ahead and go ahead. I'm sorry. What were you gonna say?
Oh, we'll have that game at PAX Unplugged.
Yeah, we'll be playtesting at Unplugged or something.
We're gonna be playtesting.
We'll have Josh playtesting it. Will he be there? He'll be there.
Well, he might be there. He's had a baby, so sometimes babies take time.
Yeah, so we'll be playing that. Don't worry about that. We'll be at the table playing.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna before we transition to the table, I'm just going to mention I forgot to mention on how deep we got with these conversations, but we are doing a giveaway this week for a slot on the Kickstarter. Basically a pledge level on the Kickstarter that will get you a copy of basically the retail game, right, Carla and Nick?
Yes.
Yeah.
So right now you just have to do exclamation point raffle, and I'm sure that Matt would already put it in chat, but if he hasn't, exclamation point raffle will get you guys a chance to win. It's going to run all throughout this week. Tonight we're here with Carla and Nick, and right now we're going to crash the table and we're going to talk about the game and how to play it. But tomorrow, Tyrankin is going to run a Twitch stream of he and a few players playing this game live. That's going to start at 9:30 Eastern Daylight Time. 9:30 Eastern Daylight Time on Wednesday. I'm going to run a table with players playing live. And then 10 o'clock Thursday Eastern Daylight Time, Crunchy Cardboard here back at Geekspiel is going to be running a table with players. So you're going to be able to enter all those streams for the copy to win this. And you're going to actually get a varying degree of player personalities and stuff, so you guys get an idea of how the game is played and how competitive and the different game modes too. I'm going to probably take a look at some of the different game modes as we go throughout, especially if the games go quick. So with that, let's go ahead and crash the table. You guys ready to rock and roll?
Let's do it.
Let's play.
All right. Oh my God, Chris! I didn't even know you were here.
No, I wasn't here either. That was like such a long interview.
Yeah,
he's been waiting so long.
I'm sorry. I mean,
lots of good information for sure.
Yeah,
that's
so,
always happy to hear from these guys. So, Carla, Nick, how you guys doing?
Hi.
Hey, Chris.
Hey,
Chris, how have things been? You doing all right?
Oh yeah. Just counting down the time to go to PAX again.
Yeah, me too, man. I think we're all in that mode. Like I
lost you.
Could you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
Got you now.
All right. So I'm going to Mepicon in Scranton, Pennsylvania, the 16th. Just one day, because then I'm traveling down to West Virginia, and then I'm down there for a week, and I come back from West Virginia and go to PAX Unplugged. So it's like
Nice.
But
I'm sure Thanksgiving is in there somewhere.
Well, that's
why he's going to West Virginia.
Driving down to West Virginia, spend time with family. So it's a crazy month for me. So let's go ahead and go over. What game mode are we going to play, Carla? How do you want to walk us through how to play this game? What's the best way to do this?
The Pleasant Night is what you should play when you haven't played yet.
Okay. And so how would you like just demonstrate it with 1 to 3 players? I guess we could start it that way.
Yeah.
Sound good?
Sure.
All right. So I'll delete these cards, get them out of the way so we can have them here. So just so you guys see the components in the board itself, these Carl's gonna go over with you guys, but it's basically how you move around the table with your little meeple. Basically, you go around the horn, and crazy things sort of happen that allow you to flip those, and things change as the game progresses. Each player board has 3 stats that are going to be tracked: experience, marked by the clock. The paintbrush is creativity.
Yep.
And the candle is hope. Each game starts with the experience on each of the players' boards, starting at 6 experience. Everything else is marked at 0, and then that will grow as the game progresses. I think that's the basic overview of components. Oh, I guess we'll look at these real quick. Some of the cards are actually, the dream cards are here, and that's kind of like the core of the game. Throughout the game, so what's going to happen is you're going to catch dreams, and then you're going to you catch dreams with experience, and then you use them, you weave them into a dream sequence. Ooh.
Abstract.
And abstract. And then when you weave them into a sequence, you basically put the card you still want to use the powers for, and we'll get into that later, but the card you still want to utilize the powers for will be weaved on top of the other cards, and vice versa. Vice versa, rather. Carla will actually sort of go over like how you can and can't weave as we go through here, but I will tell you that bonuses happen when there is synergy, or what's the term you use?
Resonance.
Resonance.
They resonate.
So you can see that these 2 cards I'm looking at here have a purple color, and also the symbol matches. Weird. Look at that. So when you weave
friendly.
So when you weave these together, there is resonance, and that will give you bonus points in scoring at the end of the game. All right. So I went over the basics here, right, Carla? Is that
Yes.
pretty good, right?
The one thing you didn't say is when you can use abilities, and you can
Right.
use the ability of any dream that's in your dream catcher. But only the ability of the last card in your dream sequence.
So
Yeah.
basically, if I catch 3 dreams and I'm sort of like holding on to them and I haven't weaved them, if I haven't created my dream sequence, I can actually utilize those powers until I weave them, and then the only one I can weave once or use is the one on the top of the weave.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of symbols here, so I think one of the difficult parts for beginning players into this is really just memorizing and understanding what the symbols mean. Would you agree with that part of it?
Yeah. The icons are kind of once you kind of figure out what the icons are, like there's you were looking at the icon that has like the meeple
Right.
with the direction, and the meeple that has 2. Like
Yes.
the meeple that has 2 means you can go 1 or 2, and there's a meeple that has 3, and then that means you can go 1 to 3.
1, 2, or 3, and then the reversing direction that reverses the direction that you travel or everybody travels.
You travel.
Oh, and
Yes.
it's not a. If you activate this,
You keep dropping
sorry.
out.
Could you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. So it's not a maze situation. It's a if you activate this, you will have to change your direction of travel, and with that you get to move up to 2 spaces with that meeple, your
Yes.
meeple that you control. Got it. Okay.
And that's also changing it on your player board, so that your
Right.
next you're still going in that other direction.
So you guys can see here that actually is indicated with this little marker here. Right here, it would just go boop, and now I know that that's the direction I will be traveling in on the board. Okay. So setup. What do I do?
Okay, so initially, all the resources, we need to put out dreams that are equal to the number of players plus 2. So, are 3 players playing?
Yeah, we'll say 3. Yep.
Sure.
Okay, so bring out 5 different dream cards,
5 dreams. 1.
and the first player is a player that just the most recently woke up. So they would get the first player board.
Oh. Did anyone take a nap today?
No, I wish.
I woke up late. I'll be honest. It was like 11 that I woke up today.
Ooh,
Oh,
yeah.
then, yeah.
That would be nice. So
Yeah,
you would be the first player.
7:30 for me.
All right,
So you get to choose your dream first. We do an initial where you get to choose one dream and directly put it into your dream catcher. So when the game starts, you have your one dream to start working on.
Very good.
But
If
you have to balance, you have to pay the experience for the dream. That's why you start with 6 experience. So if you take a look at the dream itself,
Yes.
the first thing is the cost to essentially draft the dream into your dream catcher. and then it becomes a dream that you can use and weave.
Okay, sorry, I'm going to zoom into that real quick. So the number on the top is the star. That's the value of it at the end of the game, right?
Yeah, those are the dream points
points
you get for weaving it. You get no points just in your dream catcher.
Okay.
The catch a dream icon, that's the plus dream. That's the number of experience you need to get it after you go to that space, or you get it during the initial setup. Then there's the icon to weave a dream, and that shows the creativity and hope you need to weave it. And then at the bottom is just the icon.
And that's
the ability.
The ability. And we do have a key. Also, there's a key card here that we can play. If I'm reading correctly, that key means reorder any number of cards in collective conscious. And the collective conscious is the middle part here. And I could reorder. I could just mix them all around. Right? That's cool. And then I can move one space. Am I reading that correctly?
Yes,
awesome.
You are.
Great. Okay. So I will start and I will go first. And as the game starts, we put our little followers out on the little.
Yeah, everyone starts off on the top left.
Yep.
And on your turn, you can go 1 to 3 spaces for free. You can go 4 to 6 spaces by paying for different resources. Yes, it's on that card right there.
Mm-hmm.
So 4 spaces for 1, 5 spaces for 3, or 6 spaces for 6. So you can get to most spaces, but you can't get to all spaces.
Okay. And then you could basically clear the offer or the dreamscape by spending 2 of any resource.
Yes.
Yep.
If you
while
go to
while at the catch a dream space. Got it. Interesting. Okay. So there's 5 available. Now, at the beginning of the game, you said we start and we could, as a first player, I get to choose a dream if I want to purchase a dream right off the bat.
Yes.
Have it in my.
Well, you do. You should definitely purchase a dream.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm just going to take a quick look here. So really, just to sort of let the audience understand. So, but like I'm looking right now at the experience. So I can go low experience, but obviously it's probably not going to be a super powerful ability that I might unlock with it. If we look at balance wise,
so
especially if I want
low experience ones actually have the better abilities.
What?
But they have low victory points.
Low victory points.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Oh, but if I want to like mess up somebody's day, if I want to play that, if I want to be that player, so I want to go low experience then. Lots of low experience.
And there's also there's those 2 rainbow cards on the left. So if you look at them in the corners, they have the 3 icons, so they match anything. They create resonance with anything on the bottom, but they have no icons up top. That means they do not create any resonance up top.
Okay. Interesting. So I guess what I will do is I'm just gonna go with the first one, for the heck of it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna grab
you can just choose actually from the top of the deck if you want.
Oh, so you could take here, or you could take
the top of the deck, because if it's your first game, just take from the top of the deck and make it easy.
There we go, YOLO, top of the deck.
There you go.
All right, so I pay for that, which is 4 experience.
4. Mm-hmm.
So I drop this little guy down to 2. Got it. And then it passes to my right, which is Chris.
Oh, okay. Well then.
And I like your tip there. So like if you're your game, instead of like landing in analysis paralysis AP, just draw from the top of the deck, because that's the best way you're going to learn. Like, go random.
So I like spaceships and I like points. So I'm going to go with the spaceship.
Chris just ruins it by just.
Yeah.
All right, and then
so I have to drop down 6, right? So
so you
lose all of my experience. So is it like, do I get experience at the end of the turn, or how does? I may have missed that. I apologize. Like, because I just spent everything. I
That's fine. That's fine. There's a space. You're 2 spaces away from the +4 experience. But you also get So if you look at the different spaces, there's a top and a bottom to each action space. So the first space has that +4 hope, which is the candle, and then it has the 3 meeples. And so what that means is that the person that lands there gets the 4 hope, but then every other player gets 2 hope.
Yep. And that's because it's the collective unconscious, right?
Yeah, you're all working together. Dreamscape.
Dripping theme, and that's why I love it.
Yeah,
right there.
Yeah, I love how the mechanics and the theme like collide
here. Yeah, it was actually pretty cool because like when I figured out the theme, I was like, whoa, like this makes more sense than the original theme. I think it just all just works together.
It's great. How great is it when that moment hits, like the epiphany moment hits, and you're just like, oh my goodness, like your eyes go on, and you're like, this is even a better game than I originally made.
Yeah. So, yes. So everyone has a dream now. Make sure to bring out another dream just so that there's always 5.
Yeah, and then it goes back to me as first player, and I can move up to 3 spaces, correct?
Yes, you can
without having to pay extra for them.
I would say just go up to 3 because
that's what I was thinking too. First turn, not really a lot of min-maxing that we could do right now. I am looking at my weave cost sort of to figure that out. So do I want to go for creativity? I'm thinking I do because I can actually have the ability to weave this early game if I need to. So I'm going to go ahead and move my follower 1, 2, 3, which will activate the +4 to my creativity, and it will give each of you +2 to your creativities.
Oh, that lift height.
You like it?
That lift type is epic. I can't speak. Oh my god.
Also, I did put snap points on all these cards too, Chris. So you don't have to worry about
I saw that. I was appreciative of that.
Tabletop Sim Master.
You are.
Yeah.
I know nothing about this.
Just so you know, I would have done the same thing. So it's not that special.
But did you?
I didn't have the opportunity. You just went ahead and did.
But okay, so next player, Chris, what are you doing?
So I can move up to
3 spaces, and the spaces are 1, 2, 3. You could go 1, 2, or if you wanted to already start min-maxing, you could. Well, you already ran out of all your resources, so you can't do that. But you can pay a single resource. If you had a resource, you could pay a single resource to move 1 extra space, or if you reference your card next to your player card here, you could actually pay 3 to move 5 spaces up to 5, or 6 to move 6 resources up to move up to 6 spaces. So,
and the little movement 3 on my card doesn't do much of anything right now, right?
No, because now the only way you can do that is if you land right here, this guy.
Gotcha.
That plus. I'm sorry.
That's the activate
one. Either this one or that one.
Okay,
that's right.
Well, I'm going to move 2 spaces because I want some more resources.
So you're grabbing some experience, and then all of us get 2 experience.
Hey,
buddy.
2 more experience.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yay.
Oh wait. So was I supposed to move up 2 creativity because he went on the creativity?
Yeah, so it's the community thing.
You snooze, you lose.
Yeah.
We can go like old school Monopoly rules. You didn't do it during the turn, so you don't get it, man.
Yeah.
So I would have thought that it would have been like the first person to land on it gets that, and then anyone else that goes to it gets the other part. But that's cool that it's like a shared resource pool.
Yes.
Yeah, because you can think we're all working in the collectiveness, and so we all.
Well, and like a cool thing that happens is the more players you get, the more resources you get. So you get less numbers of turns, but it's about the same game length.
Okay,
that's neat.
So Dream Team, Carla and Nick, what are you guys going to do?
All right, so we're going to keep up this, and we're going to get some hope for everybody.
Oh, you guys are the best.
We get 4 hope. You guys get 2 hope each.
Wow.
All that hope.
I feel very hopeful for this situation here.
Yeah. Do you? So then it goes back to me at this point, and so this actually moves pretty quickly here. Once you get the groove of it.
Yeah.
So I have the option. I could use this little guy to activate my card, which is going to. Ooh, I can switch with you guys and move up to 2 spaces.
Yeah. So if you wanted to get creativity again, or experience, or whatever,
I could. Let us see.
The cool thing is you could chain that and switch with both of us by activating it multiple times. Because when you move up to 2 spaces, you get the thing for the space that you land on again, or the other.
Yeah, you get whatever you land on. You move and then you take an action.
Yeah.
Okay.
So is landing also being placed on or swapped with? So if he swaps someone, does that person that got swapped get what the bonuses of that space?
Okay.
Okay.
So I can is it always move then action or action?
Oh, you have to move then action.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So I actually
Nick is being really weird about
I
stuff
am.
because so what Nick described was you can go to that activate spot and you can switch places with people and move them to that spot, and then you can move somebody else to that spot. But that's not that's just messing with people, and that's not how a regular player would play. He is giving you weird advice.
Well, now I understand because at the end of that, I won't really have any collection that's going to help me. I would have dwindled most of my resources in activating what I'm doing. Or
well, no, you don't actually use any resources when you activate.
That's true. I'm looking at that now too. Okay, so I guess let's not dwell, and I'll just go ahead and I think I want to just go 1, 2. I have 4. Let me just I can do that. I'm going to go 2, and I'm going to catch another dream.
Yay.
And you actually have a dream catcher spot that's to the left of your player board if you want to use it, but you don't have to.
Where
it's
is
the
that?
One, it's to the left. It has an icon.
It has a little
on your player board.
This one.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't notice that. So I catch them here, basically.
Yeah. And you can stack them up.
And then I weave them here with the other symbol. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, they're supposed to go here first.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm
and then
learning.
You move them underneath when you've weaved them.
It's so if you only have one woven dream, you know what it is.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna pay all my 4 and catch this stream here.
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, I like the colors.
Yeah.
What do they mean?
Looks like a Lisa Frank poster over on my board
That's
right now.
Double rainbow.
What does it mean?
Go ahead, Chris. Your turn.
Okay, and when you did that, everyone got 2 experience.
Oh yeah,
that's right. You guys all get 2 experience for that.
I did.
So
get
it does say in the rules that when you're during your first couple games to always say, and everyone else gets. Whenever you do
you take a turn.
Oh,
Just
okay.
be a friendly person.
That's
if you like being friendly. I have a bunch of helpful hints in my rules, and you can ignore them if you want.
What did you do, Chris?
Yeah. So wait, I can move up to 3 spaces.
Up to 3 spaces.
1, 2, 3.
So I think I'm gonna go there, and
y'all get a dream, bro.
I'm gonna catch some dreams. I want those Z's.
Yeah.
Nice.
And since I'm just this kind of looks like Mars, I'm just gonna take it.
Yeah.
Put it here.
I find that's a funny thing. This game, it's all visually appealing. Yeah, these look good together, so that's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
I got a spaceship. I got to go to Mars.
Yeah. Well, okay. All right.
Yeah. So we're in the future, and we're trying to warn these folks in the past. So we've got to build these really cool dream sequences to tell them ooh, there's going to be an aircraft carrier on Mars.
Oh.
I don't know.
Oh wait. Oh, that is an aircraft carrier. I thought it was just some. I didn't look that close.
Yeah, you can see the little aircraft on it if you look real close.
Yeah.
Right.
James Madison did the art for us, and we love it.
Well, but I was just thinking about it. If someone had a spaceship, Carla, if you had a spaceship, would you not go to Mars? I mean, you'd have to at least stop by and say hi.
Yeah, well, definitely. But I think I'd also I think the final destination would probably be Io, one of the moons of Jupiter.
Yes.
Maybe there's life there. I mean,
like a
Life
squid.
on Mars
massive.
instead.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be.
Real life
Like,
Kraken.
water there.
Well, there's tons of water on Mars. It's just frozen.
I don't
Chris,
know if that's
when
true.
you did when
There's a
you
little
just said what you said, what you just said, like just triggered like the old Will Ferrell Harry Carey skit. It's like, if the mill was made of cheese, would you eat it?
The mill was made of cheese. Would you eat it?
Would-
I
would
know
you
I
eat
would.
Yes. I know I would. That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
So we've got we moved 4, so we paid 1 resource to move because we also wanted to catch a dream.
What? You could have used an ability though.
No, we didn't have any cool abilities,
Okay.
so we'll bring out 1 more here.
Thanks for all the experience, friends.
Yeah, so everybody gets 2 experience because we
Hope
went
you
there.
having good dreams.
Yay!
Yay. And those who are watching at home, I'm just trying to see as things are happening. Nobody has woven. Is that what's the proper term for
Woven.
to weave?
I think woven. Yeah.
Woven. Nobody has
Yeah.
woven any dreams into a sequence at this point. So everybody's just catching a lot of dreams, and then they're going to sort of they're going to actively work with their creativity and their hope, and they will weave those dreams into a sequence that makes sense to them as individuals.
Yes.
Okay, so it goes back to me, and I will. This means that I can weave a dream if I go to that one, giving you guys hope and me the first dream woven.
Yep. Mhm.
Does it have to be 3 of them, or is it only? Can you do 2?
Well,
What?
Well, there's
What do
3
you-
squares there. That's why I asked.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. No, you just weave 1 of your dreams
yes.
into the. So essentially, you pay the cost
You-
in the box.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yep.
I'm
Okay,
gonna go ahead.
I get you. Gotcha.
I can't afford to do the one with the hope. I could do my first one. That's a wild. Yeah, you know what? I think I'm gonna start weaving here. Let's put some pressure on the table. So I'm gonna go ahead and 1 space.
We all
You
get
all-
2 hope, brothers.
You all receive some extra hope, some 2 hope. And I weave in. I pay 3 of my creativity and 1 of my hope, and I have a nice dream about a spaceship. No, don't know where it's going yet, but I have a nice dream about a spaceship.
Yay!
And the cool thing is, at this point, I don't really lose the ability to activate both cards because it's not covered yet. But
Right.
if I weave another card into the sequence, then I'm going to lose my ability on my first dream.
Yeah. So, well, the good thing is you do get the choice to either put it on top of your dream or behind your dream. So you could choose whether or not, but you would lose
Oh.
a 1 ability. Yes.
So I'm either flying away from this planet with that crazy meteor shower, or I'm landing on it.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm,
Whatever
okay.
you think would be better.
So what is this on? Sorry, I gotta ask. On my card here, this my Mars card with the aircraft carrier.
Yeah.
Does this mean I can switch a dream with someone?
Not with someone, but within your own dream sequence or in your own dream catcher. So
Oh, so I
You-
can reorganize.
yes, essentially.
Gotcha.
Or you could build something that's really cheap and then swap it with something that's more expensive.
Oh, look at that strat.
Strategy.
There you go.
Deep
Pro
strat.
tip. Pro tip.
Now everyone in the stream now knows something that no one else knows here. So
Ooh.
when you go to play with your friends, do you have something above them now?
Yep.
I like how Chris had for a moment there was doing like the neck scratch, like I get this, but I don't get it. that's what that was right there. That was the body language right there was like, oh
Yep.
yeah, right, okay.
All right. So is it my turn? Did you finish streaming?
Yeah, I wove my dream. You do your thing.
Okay. All right. Let's see here. This +3 of whatever I want.
Yes.
Yeah, +3 of any resource.
Well,
And then only 1 creativity for us.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna get +3. Can they be split, or is it like 1?
Whatever you want.
Yep. They can
Oh,
be
that's
split.
awesome.
They can be split. Okay.
Yes, they can. Look at you.
I think we should start doing some crazy stuff on our turn.
Yes.
Yeah. So the question from chat that was just relayed to us is, how does weaving work, and does it score your points at the end? I will, for a moment, while these guys are taking their turns, there is a score thing. I thought I had one out, but I could be wrong.
It's on the back of the
Back of the key, or
no, on the back of the reference card.
I don't know if I have this reference card.
Everyone has reference.
Oh yeah,
it's right there.
All right. So
and you get to see my poor graphic design.
It's okay. It's okay. It's partially my fault.
Prototype.
Yeah, this is prototype. But resonance scoring, and the resonance is the colors on either the bottom or top of the cards in the dream. If you have a set of 2, you're going to score 2 points on top of whatever the stars are in the left-hand corner of the cards. So you're basically going to add up all the left. Is that true? Do you add up all the left-hand corner scores at the end of the game?
Yes.
Yep.
Or sorry, right. I'm saying left-hand, right-hand corner.
The other left.
Yeah,
you
the
add
other,
up
my left.
dream points from each individual dream in your dream sequence.
Okay.
So yes, if you don't weave it, then you get no points for it.
Okay, so if the dream is not woven into a sequence, then you will not receive any points. If it's just sitting there caught, that doesn't count for scoring.
Yeah.
But once everything's woven in, and the end of the game is triggered when the 5th dream is woven into the sequence on one player's.
Yes, and then players take an even number of turns.
So we finish.
So if you take get 5 dreams in your dream sequence, then everyone else takes their final turn. But if Nick does it, then nobody else gets any turns. It's just over.
Oh wow, interesting. Wow. Okay. So there's a strat there that you have to sort of keep in mind too, because if he's racing for it as an odd number turn player, that could hurt. Go ahead.
The important thing with the sets are once you start weaving dreams, you're going to start doing that whole thing where you put them on top of each other. And a set is where they are touching. So it does have to be. So if we had a 3rd dream here, this would be a set of 3. Well, because the wild's there. Yep. But this one would only be a set of 2 there because this one does not resonate with the rest of the set.
Correct. And as long as it's woven, you always get that top right, but only if you weave it. And like you said, like you're going to do there, you're going to flip that Mars one to the other side of where it was wild. That would count and give me points.
Yeah. So essentially, it would be really cool because this would be 2 sets of 2, one set of green and one set of white.
Go by the icons.
Or the icons. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I got it.
Pro tip number 2.
Pro tip number 2. So by actually weaving it that way, you have 2 sets of 2 instead of a set of 3.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Okay. So resonance plays a pretty important part. Got it.
Yeah. All right.
And if you guys have any questions for Carla and Nick while they're here with us about the game or anything else, just let us know. We'll get those questions to them.
All right. So I think it's our turn, and what we're going to do is we're going to do some crazy stuff.
All right.
We're going to go 1, 2, 3, and we're going to activate one of our dreams. So when we activate a dream, we can activate any ability that we own that we could see.
Right,
so
they're on the bottom of the cards.
The only ones we couldn't use are if they were stacked up. So this includes the ones in the dream catcher or in the dream sequence.
Correct. I'm going to zoom over here so you guys on chat or out there can see that. So what are you guys opting to activate?
So we're going to rearrange the collective consciousness and then move 1. So this allows us to play around with this collective consciousness a little bit.
I want to decide.
All right, Carla's going to move them.
And this specific one states reorder any number of cards in the collective consciousness.
Yep. And so there's some that only allow you to move one of these, but we could do whatever we want. And so everybody stays on the same space they're at.
Oh,
and you kind of get screwed up here, and we can get to some things that we couldn't really access before using the
right.
So,
I'm trying to use Tabletop Sim, and I can't. But whatever, I did the thing.
Yeah,
and I went to creativity.
And so since we then landed on another space, we get the creativity from that space.
So you guys get 4, and we get 2 on creativity.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, see, and that's one of the mechanics that I loved, like when I was watching it played as well, is that these things can shuffle around and flip, and it's just
really changes it around a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because now my strategy that I had is now gone.
Really
now
messed
it's
it up.
but now I immediately have a new strategy, which is great.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's why I did it.
Yeah, we saw you
Yeah,
going for
she's-
that.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, good looking out for the new guy, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Way to go. Woohoo.
So real quick, we could talk about so the difference between this mode and the nightmare mode. So when you throw the nightmare on here, is that every
Well,
round
you don't throw it on there.
the game will mess this up somehow.
So I'll do a quick pause there then. So the nightmare is the actual horse Meeple.
Yeah.
But the nightmare it is played. I believe is it played on a player card? Is like on in front of, like, a player?
It's basically played between players. It was its own player. So in the game we had, Nick was the last player. So after Nick's first turn, the nightmare would go. And how the nightmare would go is that you'd flip over a card from the deck. Like you just
like
flip
one of these,
over.
like right there.
Yeah, and you look at the top icon, and the top icon is a moon icon.
Oh, sorry, that one
Right?
on the top left. Yep.
Yeah.
Half moon.
So you look at the card, and you'd probably play the easy nightmare first. So go to the easy robot.
And
card.
that is robot player easy, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Flip that back over.
So based on what it says there, you just go and do the moon, which is flip the number 2 card in the collective consciousness and move it to the beginning. So the number 2 card is the one with the number 2 on it.
Oh, so this one right
here. It's already there.
Yep.
Yeah. So in that case, it wouldn't do anything.
Well, you have to flip it.
You still have to flip it, right?
Yeah.
So flipping it just reverses these two, and the purple player would still stay on that same space. It would just be on the top. So if you look actually at the back of this card, it conveniently makes it so that all the fonts are still lined up. Yeah.
But that's not what we're doing, though, right?
But yeah, go back to that. We're not doing that.
Yeah,
That's a more advanced mode.
Right.
Yeah. So the nightmare, it can do like a variety of things. So super fast and easy, and it just happens.
And I like that. So there are actually for each the robot players. Is that robot player is actually the nightmare? Is that correct?
So the robot player is different than the nightmare, but the nightmare.
You reference the robot player card for the activations on the night. Okay, got it.
Yeah, and so the easy robot player's nightmare is less intense. The medium and the hard, they get to like throwing everything around, discarding things, taking resources away. So,
they definitely go up in intensity.
Yeah.
Okay. But that was designed that way.
Yeah, right. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go just move 1 and get 4 hope, and you guys get 2 hope.
Okay, we get 2 hope.
Yeah.
And note, you can only hold up to 10 resources. If you ever need to go above that, you just do not get them.
Got it. Oh. Got it. So you can't.
So use them.
Oh.
We're so full of hope over here.
Yeah,
that's right. Go ahead. It is your turn, Chris.
Okay. Well, then I'm gonna go here.
Yep.
Right. So y'all can have some more hope.
Yep.
Oh, thanks. Some more hope.
Yeah.
Thanks, friend.
We're gonna weave soon.
Yeah. I think that I'm gonna go ahead and weave this here.
Okay.
And the reason is because I'm not going to be like Will and mess up my opportunity for two chains.
2 chains.
You know, I didn't get that at first, and then I realized that there's a rapper named 2 Chainz, and I'm like, I don't know any of his music. If you call it music, I have no idea. So, but we'll leave it at that. So I think I'm done now.
All right.
So what are we doing, Carla?
Okay, well, we're going to go weave, but first we're going to move to the activated dream space.
Where are we at?
We're the white one.
We'll do 1,
so 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, and we're going to activate the move a bunch of them, and then I'm going to take the mouse and move.
Oh, I'm so angry with you right now.
Craziness. Carla, what are you doing?
I have everything at my disposal.
She has
and then I'm gonna
move
go
1, so we can...
Yep. Weave it. Yeah, so you're going to weave that. Got it.
So, and then I'm going to learn how to move the board over.
Tell me what you want.
Yeah, just tell us what you want to do.
Okay. And then we're gonna weave stream. Oh gosh. Okay.
Okay.
I did the
We're out of
thing.
control.
Okay. And then I go down.
Tabletop Simulator sometimes gets moody. You just have to hit it. It's okay.
Down, boy.
Okay. Okay. So I will win that dream.
Yay, so we have 4 points now.
Yay.
Mm.
And all of you should have gotten
And you get
resources.
2 hope.
hope.
from
2
that.
more hope, but I don't want any more hope.
Oh, you have all the hope.
I just want to be creative. I don't need any more hope. I'm bursting with hope.
It's
Okay.
like Carla made the game or something.
Yeah,
Whoa.
strange. Weird.
Oh, yeah.
Weird. Let's see. If I go to that one, I can move 3 more. 1, 2, 3 would maybe 1 short. But if I ramp it, I could weave. Do I have enough? I don't need experience. I just need to. Okay, I think I could do this. Barely.
No, it looks like you could do
Barely.
it.
I'd have to. But wait, I'd have to pay a resource.
You could pay like a bunch of hope if you needed to.
I'm swimming in hope right now. So, 1, 2, 3. Activate this guy, which will move me 3 more spaces.
1 to 3 spaces.
And I could also. Oh, but wait. Here's a question. Let me go back before I do that. Could I pay that extra resource to go extra movement on that second thing, or am I forced to only go 3?
No, but you could use it again by landing on the other activate space.
Oh.
So you can.
It'll work. It'll work.
Yep.
So 1, 2, 3.
And then move up to 3.
Then 1, 2, 3,
and then move up to 3 again.
Yeah. So now let me just look though, because I might do something crazy.
Super crazy. This is your last 3 though.
It is my last 3, or it's a swap with somebody and move 2.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But I'd be swapping with you guys, and it would.
And we can weave a dream again.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go.
Hope.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Okay.
Okay, sure. I just need to. So I weave, and I'm going to this one and weave it down. I have to pay 3 creativity and 4 hope. So 3 creativity drops me to 1, then 4 hope drops me from 9 to 5.
So now you do have the choice to put it either on top and cover up the ability of that dream, or put it on the bottom and cover up that ability.
I would recommend the bottom.
I'm not.
And it depends, like what's out there, because you may want to resonate.
Yeah.
Something.
That's true. I'm gonna go with this.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good.
So then next, Chris, you can take your turn.
Okay.
And you guys all got 2 hope, correct?
Yep.
What I did.
We're almost maxed out.
That's why we're gonna use it.
Are we weaving? Who
So
knows what we're gonna do?
So we just wanted to really go over the basics of how to play tonight. Do you guys want to do maybe a few more rounds, or do you think we'd be able to finish it up quickly?
So I think that's basically it. What you would keep going is essentially go to the. Have we caught a dream? So I think this is the only space we haven't used yet.
Oh, we've caught a dream.
We've caught a dream.
Yeah,
Okay,
we've caught dreams.
Spaces. Yeah. What we haven't seen is all the different abilities in the game, but you have to play multiple games to be able to see all the different abilities,
and I think
to see how they interact with each other.
And I think that'd be a great thing for everybody to go out and try on Tabletop Simulator themselves. Take a look at the abilities. Yep. See if you could discover more combos, because there are some more combos. Pro tip out there.
And everything. So everything you guys see is playing the way we have this set up right now. This is in Tabletop Simulator right now, live, available to the public. So if you have Tabletop Simulator, just visit the workshop, search for Dreams of Tomorrow, and you'll be able to subscribe to that and then load it into your Tabletop Simulator, your copy of Tabletop Simulator. But like I said, there's going to be a lot of combos, a lot of who's on the fence with this Kickstarter and you just want to see how it plays, and you have a group of friends that might play it, that's one of the reasons Carla and Nick want to make this available to you guys too, so you can actually get to physically play it without spending a small fortune on printing it out yourself at home, right?
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest things, it's kind of hard to see.
Hold on.
These
Sorry,
are
Nick.
tarot cards.
We caught you there for a second.
Did we lose you?
Go ahead.
You're good
You're
there.
back. You're back.
So the big thing here is these are tarot cards. It's kind of hard to tell that in Tabletop Simulator.
Right.
But so these are huge, giant cards.
Right. They're not like tiny cards. These are going to be larger cards. And you see the full design. You'll see all the symbology very easily when you have them. And some of these, like some of the resolutions, like on the instruction cards and stuff, obviously not going to be the final printing. So don't worry about that, guys.
Oh yes.
It's definitely a prototype.
So some cards will get improved and updated. Like none of what you see will be the final.
Yep.
So a question was asked, how deep in the stretch goals do we have to go to get dual layer player boards?
Well, we only reveal 2 at a time, and so we'll say that there are at least 2 out.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
so we actually figured out how to do that. Stellar Leaf, and they came out spectacularly. It took us like a month going back and forth with Longpack to actually figure out how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But it is definitely doable. So yeah, tell your friends, and hopefully we can get those.
Okay. It's within the budget, so
there's a possibility. The numbers may work.
That's awesome. So before we part ways this evening, is there anything else you guys wanted to touch on? Get the word out for anything else you guys are working on aside from this? Let us know.
Okay. We're gonna do a game with Galactic Raptor Games. Animal Kingdom, that's probably going to Kickstarter in January. So look out for that. Yeah, it's a different company, so different timelines.
Yeah, and that's if anybody hasn't heard, we're partnering with Dan Letzrig from Letterman Games, and
we talked about that in the beginning.
Yeah.
They probably heard about that.
But that's the whole background. So Animal Kingdoms, the art is spectacular in that the gameplay is amazing. It's a different kind of area control game. It won Cardboard Edison this year.
Yes.
Oh wow. Okay, that's great.
That game.
And
it's more than just Nick that thinks it's pretty good.
and that's
people that did.
So that's hitting January on Kickstarter, and then February for your other title.
Yeah, Big Easy Busking.
Big Easy Busking, and then we've got a few other ones that we haven't really
talk about.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to talk about, but they're really
it's like
cool.
No,
Can't
don't
wait.
Nick looks like he's about to explode.
That is what he does. He just I tell him, don't talk about these things, and then he's like,
secret things,
let's tell everyone.
Secret projects.
He's like
secrets.
But okay, we are the Geek Spiel team. We are looking for again sitting down at PAX Unplugged. Are you guys traveling to Unpub again this year?
Yes,
we'll be there.
My plan is to be there as well.
Yeah,
I hope to actually. So last time I had
with the weird horse paintings in every one of the rooms.
Gosh, that was weird. I mean, I like horses, but I don't want to see the eye of a horse that big.
They were everywhere.
There.
It was weird.
The leather walls. There was the wallpaper was leather across. Anyway. But yeah, so thank you guys for joining us tonight. You're welcome to join us for any of the streams that we're going to have the rest of the week. I know you guys are busy, so don't feel obligated to join us, but you are welcome to join us for those streams as well. So again, a quick recap for anybody who watched tonight. If you didn't get your raffles in, just exclamation point raffle for a chance to win the retail copy of this game. And you're going to be able to catch more chances to win tomorrow night, 9:30 Eastern Daylight Time. On Tirakin's channel. We'll be hosting it here on Gatekeeper, so if you're not sure, you can follow and join from there. 9:30 Happy Fun Time Live, my stream. We'll be doing a gameplay session there. And then 10 o'clock p.m. Thursday night, we'll be back here at Geekspiel hosting Crunchy Cardboard, Take a Bite. And that's 10 p.m. Thursday night, where you'll have more chances to win or to win this game. again, thanks guys for joining us. Really
Yeah,
appreciate it.
thanks.
Yeah, we had a great time.
Well, you have like about 2 weeks.
No, we don't. We
10
have
days
10 days.
left.
Actually,
10 days.
on 9 days now.
Yeah, you can find it at weirdgiraffegames.com/streams.
No, that's the wrong link. It's weirdgiraffe.games/streams.
Oh, both of them will work.
He made the link. I just say it more often.
Yeah, or weirdgiraffegames.com. Just take a look. There's a big thing right at the top.
Yeah, it's on every page.
Where you can find more information. There's really cool stories to go along with this game out there by our story writer Calvin Wong.
Yeah. He is also a semi-famous actor. He was in Crazy Rich Asians.
Oh,
really?
I have not seen that yet.
I have not.
You should. Yeah. Well, you should know Calvin already, but yeah, know Calvin and then watch the movie and then be amazed at him. Yeah. He has a really good part in it.
Awesome.
And he does spectacular writing. And we just released the second story today on our update.
The first story.
I was wondering we had another one, but I'm out of it.
I love that. This has been a series of Carla correcting Nick the entire interview.
I mean, I started off with Nick tells lies.
I do.
Carla's role in your relationship is like your Nick. That's what's happening in this whole.
Yeah, that's how it works. I understand.
It's the same. It's the same with me, with my wife. Though, so I'm just lucky enough that she doesn't join me on this program because that'd just be her like yelling at me all night. So, but you guys
gotta admit, she does it so well. It's like you make it seem effortless that you just like, oh nope, that's not it. It's this.
But okay, thanks again, guys. We're gonna sign off for the night. We'll catch you guys throughout the rest of the week. We'll be playing more of Dreams of Tomorrow. Hopefully, deep shredding very hard with this game. So you guys get cool combos. Thanks for joining us at Geek Spiel, and we will catch you later in the week. Night, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Peace.
Peace.